Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome. It's time to begin service today, and we're going to kick it off with a song.
Siobhan Hyland is Irish, obviously, and lives in the beautiful Connemara area in the far west of the country. She is a teacher who has spent most of her career working with children with additional needs. She also currently works with displaced children from Ukraine. Siobhan trained as a yoga teacher in 2010, that's where she met me, and she hosts a women's yoga and meditation class on the full moon every month. She also offers creative mindfulness classes for teenagers. Teaching is her calling and singing is her true love. As a child, she was taught to sing in the traditional Irish sean-nós style. And as a teenager, she studied music and singing to diploma level with Sister Carol of Kylemore Abbey in Connemara. Just going to pause there because many of you may have seen pictures of her or heard of Kylemore Abbey. It's the most stunning abbey in Connemara, and Siobhan got to go to secondary school there. So that's kind of wow. She has sung at weddings, including my wedding, funerals, and other celebrations. Her dream music scenario would be to record an album singing with her dad, who has worked as a musician all his life. And I sincerely hope that happens for you, Siobhan. I don't see why not. And she writes a blog sporadically, and that's called Nurture Connection, and it's at wordpress.com. We can put that link into the chat. So without further ado, I hand you the beautiful and fabulous Siobhan Hyland.
Thanks, Mia. Just to give a short background, the first song I'm going to sing is called Galway Bay, and Galway is the county I live in. And this song was written by an immigrant who was living in London. His name was Frank Fahey, and he was a native of Kinvara in County Galway. And one of the most renowned recordings of this song is by Dolores Kane, and that's the version that I like to sing. 'Tis far away I am today from scenes I roamed a boy, and long ago the hour I know I first saw Illinois. No time nor tide nor waters wide could wean my heart away. Forever true it flies to you, my own dear Galway Bay. Oh, grey and bleak by shores and creek, the rugged rocks abound. But sweet and green the grass between that grows on Irish ground. So friendship fond, all wealth abound, and a love that lives always. Bless every home beside your foam, my own dear Galway Bay. Had I youth's blood and hopeful mood, and a heart of fire once more, for all the gold this world might hold, I'd never leave your shores. I'd be content with whatever God sent, with neighbours old and grey. And I'd lay my bones 'neath churchyard stones beside you, Galway Bay. The blessings of a poor old man be with you night and day. And the blessings of a lonely man whose heart will soon be clay. 'Tis all of heaven I ask of God upon my dying day, and my soul to soar forevermore above you, Galway Bay.
Siobhan, thank you so much. What a gorgeous way to set the stage for our service today. Everyone, don't worry. We'll hear more from Siobhan as service continues. Again, welcome to Virtual Speakeasy. I'm Kate Felice Silva. I'm a thankful and super joyful member of our community. Speakeasy is where we speak easily about the limitless nature of God, of love, and of life. Here, we attempt to traverse tough and tender topics in hopes of cultivating greater understanding and grace. We're a spiritual community with a global message, and we are definitely going to highlight that today. And we invite you to link arms in helping us expand our reach. If you received a reminder text today, take a moment to turn within and ask, who should I share this experience with? Copy and paste and send the text. It's that easy. Your efforts are the limitless nature of love in action. Doesn't matter if they show up. What matters is that you played your part in being an extension of love. And we all know how wonderful it is to be invited anywhere from all over the globe. And so it's great to be here with you this morning. If this is your first time, we welcome you. If this is your second time, we're so glad to have you back. Our hope is that you make this your spiritual home. Our spiritual community is a place to engage. And the first step in doing so is just making sure that your full name is on your Zoom profile. We'd love to be able to recognize you by name throughout our service. Speakeasy is the incubator of some awesomeness, where we love of who you're capable of being. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of our service today. We've got Sheila sharing invitations and announcements, all the ways that you can get involved. Richard Ocean will be sharing our mission statement, and Adriana Hoke will be leading our prayer and meditation. And then we're going to have the pleasure of having a conversation interweaved by Maureen Muldoon, Rachel Beitler, and KironJ Gardner. After the talk, Regina will lead us in a community offering. And because we exist on the generosity of our community members, we want to thank you right from the beginning from playing your part in taking the opportunity to make a donation and an investment today. Your generous donations help us bring spiritual leaders, artists, and speakers to Sunday service and keep these important conversations going. The giving links and event signups will all be posted in the chat throughout our service. Okay. So in our conversation, we invite you, don't leave anything at the door, okay? Bring your full self to the conversation, because we don't have the answers, but we sure love the questions. And now I'll pass it over to Richard Ocean to share our mission statement.
Hello, friends. Good morning. My name is Richard Ocean, and Speak Easy is my spiritual home, and I'm delighted to share our mission. Speak Easy is a diverse and progressive spiritual community sharing a message of love and engaging in conversations that inspire creative expression and spiritual well-being. We honor the Divine Mother and follow the teaching of A Course in Miracles and the principles of love. We see you as a unique expression of love capable of divine embodiment. Here at Speakeasy, truth is our passion, love is our religion, care is our currency, and peace is our goal. We attempt to speak easily about tough and tender topics so that we can navigate life with greater wisdom and grace. We devote this service to the Divine Mother, Mary Magdalene, Jesus, Buddha, and to all the holy names of God, to all saints and all enlightened teachers, as well as their teachings, specifically the teachings of A Course in Miracles. We welcome you, and we are so glad you're here. Namaste.
And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce a tapestry maker, a weaver like no one else that I know, Maureen Muldoon, lifting up her community building skills for the last 9 years with Speakeasy. But it's also such a joy to know the tapestry of Maureen as not only a spiritual director, but as an incredible artist, an actress, a speaker, a writer, and someone who not only lets her light shine with her gifts, but is so skilled and gifted at bringing others along the way and allowing their lights to shine. And so really wanted to just share some gratitude for that unique aspect of you, Maureen, as we explore global tapestry and be in conversation in a larger community today. And with that, I pass the baton to you.
Oh, thanks, Kate. You spot it, you got it. And so thank you. Thank you for leading the conversation today. So welcome to our second episode of Tapestry. Today we're talking about single focus, unlimited power, as suggested by one of our speakers, KironJ. And I am going to introduce the speakers now, and then I'll add my, 5 minutes and 2 cents and take it for what it will, and then they'll be sharing as well. So KironJ is a Course in Miracles teacher and speaker, and she teaches and speaks with passion, and she uses experimental approaches to the study of A Course in Miracles. She supports students to welcome miracles into the relationship and into their thinking. And KironJ has worked with many, many other teachers, including Nuke Sanchez, Karine Zupko, Jennifer Hadley, Kristen Baxton, and she feels deeply inspired to collaborate and join in service of the healing of our minds. So she was suggested to this community, and I'm sure we're in for a huge treat. Next up, after she shares, will be Rachel Beitler, and Rachel is just, we call her the baby Buddha, and that doesn't come by accident. She is a social worker who helps her clients let go of social expectations to lead a more meaningful existence and become the people that they're truly meant to be. And she received her master's degree in social work from New York University in 2019 and has since been running her own private practice. She uses a combination of Gestalt therapy, internal family systems therapy, and self-acceptance training to help clients who are experiencing challenges related to anxiety and depression, stress, managing life transitions. I feel like she's just doing a checklist of my things I need to take care of. Relationships, families of origin issues. So yeah, I could also check that box. So thank you for being with us, Rachel and KironJ. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to add to this topic. And as I said, I'll add my 5 minutes and 2 cents. So what I know about single focus and unlimited power is that there's nothing that brings us closer to single focus and ultimate power than the statement, I am that I am. The focus is for us to be one with all things, and that alone is a very powerful vortex that leads us into an experience of either heaven or hell, which is to say, a place of all power or a place of powerlessness. So that's the focus, and that's where the power lives, to recognize that I'm one with all things. But how do we practice that? So recently, I've been studying the Gospel of Thomas, part of the collection of the early Christian Gnostic texts discovered in the Upper Egyptian area called a town called Nag Hammadi. You probably have heard of these gospels that were found in Nag Hammadi in 1945, including all types of gospels and poetry. And the Gospel of Thomas was widely celebrated, and it includes 114 quotes and verses that are said to have been attributed to the living Jesus. And quote 70 was the one that made me think about this idea of single focus and unlimited power. And this is what he says. He says, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. So he's basically saying what we've heard in a more modern terminology in 12-step, we're only as sick as our secrets. Like, we need to make peace with the entirety of our being to bring forth those things you call demons and to make peace with them, to bring forth those things you call passions and to make peace with them, to bring forth your lovers and your mothers and your others and to make peace with all of it. And so along with the discovery of this ancient text, the Gospel of Thomas, there was also, like I said, other gospels and other forms of poetry. And one of the poems that was found there was called Thunder Perfect Mind. And with the exception of the Gospel of Thomas, no other document from this collection was given so much celebration and adoration. This poem called Thunder Perfect Mind. And why is that? Well, it's spoken from a non-dualistic voice. It blurs the boundaries between genders, which is really amazing. It speaks of sinners and saints being one and the same. It speaks from a feminine voice and then sometimes from the masculine voice, and it calls forth all things as her own. So it's just this beautiful poem that just calls forth all things as her own. And although these are ancient teachings, they're definitely in alignment with our current consciousness. So you've heard me say before, form follows consciousness. And these gospels, much like the Gospel of Mary Magdalene that was found, with these gospels, were hidden in a jar until we reached a point or a place where we were able to actually bring it forth and make peace with it. It was always there. So these truths are always there. These ideas about ourselves are always there. All of it is always there. And we get to be with it and have that, maybe not single focus, but to see all things as the same, as Jesus says at the end of A Course in Miracles. So I'm going to read a part of this poem. It's a pretty long poem. I'm not going to read all of it because it's a long poem and I have a short time, but I'm going to read only the lines that begin with I am. Because again, the idea is I am that I am. And I invite you to take this as a meditation or an examination as to what you are willing or not willing to bring forth about yourself. What have you or have you not made peace with within your own soul? And here's the poem. I am the first and the last. I am she who is adorned and she who is mocked. I am the whore and the holy woman, the wife and the virgin, the mother and the daughter. I am the limbs of my mother. I am the sterile woman, and she has many children. I am she whose wedding is extravagant, and I did not take a husband. I am the midwife, and she who has given birth. I am the comforter of my labor pains. I am the bride and the bridegroom, and it is my husband who gave birth to me. I am my father's mother, my husband's sister, and he is my child. I am the slave woman of he who serves me. I am she, the Lord of my child. I am both awareness and obliviousness. I am humiliation and pride. I am without shame. I am ashamed. I am security and I am fear. I am peace and war. I am she who is disgraced and she who is important. I am she who exists in all fears and trembles in boldness. I am she who is timid and I am safe in a comfortable place. I am witless. I am wise. I am she who is hated in every place and she was loved in every place. I am she whom they called life and you call death. I am she whom they call law, and you call lawlessness. I am she whom you chased, and she whom you captured. I am she whom you scattered, and you have gathered me together. I am she before whom you were ashamed, and you have been shameless to me. I am she who does not celebrate festivals, and I am she whose festivals are spectacular. I am without God. I am she whose God is magnificent. I am not learned, and they learn from me. I am she whom you detest, and you give thanks. I am he from whom you hid, and you appear to me. I am she who is revered and adored, and she who is reviled with contempt. I am foreigner and a citizen of the city. I am being, and I am she who is nothing. I am the coming together and the falling apart, the enduring and the disintegration. I am down in the dirt and they come up to me. I am judgment and acquittal. I am without sin, and the root of sin is from within me. I appear to be lust, but inside is self-control. I am what anyone can hear, but no one can say. I am mute that does not speak, and my words are endless. I am the knowledge of my name. I am she who shouts out, and it is I that listen. I am he that defends. I am she they call truth and violation. I am what everyone can hear and no one can say. I am the name of the sound and the sound of the name. I think that this poem brings us into this place of almost confusion, where it repeats back and forth about all that it is and all that it's not, saying that it is including everything within itself. And I think it can bring us to a place of contemplation of what we have left outside of our hearts and what we're willing to claim. And I think that when we allow to have single focus of love toward all things, we gain ultimate power. And with that, I'll pass to our esteemed guest, KironJ Gardner.
Well, thank you, Maureen. I'm just so loving this, being here with you in this conversation. And it's my pleasure to offer A Course in Miracles perspective on our topic. And I'm going to use the word single purpose, because purpose is a word that's used a lot in the course. So single purpose, unlimited power is what I'm going to be speaking on today. Let's start with our experience so far today. What were your first actions? Perhaps taking a shower, getting dressed, drinking coffee, spiritual study, whatever it was. Would you like to ask yourself, why did I do that? And would you like to consider, was I 100% dedicated to what I was doing? Maybe your attention wandered to other things, plans, concerns. Perhaps you had a willingness and a resistance to your day. Did you have children clamoring for breakfast, the dog needing walking, the phone ringing, a decision to be made, Facebook to be checked? You may have noticed it can seem like there's a multitude of purposes for our day. It's so easy to feel scattered and anything but powerful. Miraculously, A Course in Miracles presents some deeply healing ideas about purpose that go beyond the wisdom of be here now. The Course teaches that it isn't possible to have a single personal purpose, no matter how present we are in our activities. It will always be divided. And here's 2 reasons why. Firstly, there will be a surface purpose, walking the dog, sending an email, and always an underlying purpose of reinforcing our individual separate identity. And as people, we will be primarily dedicated to that underlying purpose. The Course says it this way: to me, person, the purpose of everything is to prove that my illusions about myself are real. Secondly, the Course's meaning of single purpose is one that everyone could fully join in with. This purpose is totally inclusive. Can everyone, or even anyone else, be totally committed to our work, to our family goals, let alone our aim of getting dressed in the morning or reinforcing our individual identity? No, they'll be too busy reinforcing their own identity. A Course in Miracles teaching on this is: egos do join together in temporary allegiance, but always for what each one can get separately. So when we, as people, work with colleagues on a project, or set up home with a partner, or come together for any worldly purpose, all is not as it seems. We'll have a paramount personal agenda, and that is a choice for division, no matter how heavily disguised it is as a single purpose in a joint endeavor. It's a choice for a tremendous loss and rejection of our true power. Well, you might ask, what is this single purpose that sorts out everything, includes everyone, we can live from continuously, and that calls upon unlimited power, whatever the situation? It is a single vision that is focused only on remembering we are one mind. We simply can't dedicate ourselves completely to anything but the one mind that we truly are. So in practice, throughout our days, whatever our circumstances, we can open to the constant, stable, and infinitely loving power of the one mind that we are, seeing all happenings as a means to remember. This is the one single purpose available to everyone in this dream of multiplicity. Here's a fabulous and miraculous statement from A Course in Miracles. With one purpose only, I am always certain what to do, what to say, and what to think. All doubts must disappear. How powerful is that? And here's another fabulous statement. From his purpose comes the means for effortless accomplishment and rest. Shall we drink this in? When we do indeed see our physical lives as a classroom for remembering the truth of ourselves and each other, the truth of unity and not separation, of shared interests and not personal interests, then we simply flow with ease and grace. we call on unlimited spiritual power and gentleness. And we live in love and not fear. So I'm going to close with a question for all of us. What purpose will I give the rest of my Sunday?
Thank you, KironJ. Beautiful, beautiful. I felt like I was just humming through your whole share. So next up, we have our sweet dear friend, Rachel Beitler, and then we'll have a conversation. And I'll pass it to you, Rachel.
Hello. It's nice to be with all you guys. Kiron, I really appreciated your, how did you start your morning? I found myself eating, standing up again, dipping pretzels into peanut butter. And then I caught myself, but, anyway. So I'd like to begin by doing a simple exercise called I am and I am not. And I'm hoping that you guys have a pen and a pad of paper close by. So what you want to do is do 3 lines. I am blank, I am blank, and I am blank. So I don't know if you can see this right here. Just I am, I am, I am. The first 2 I ams are your most prized personal qualities. Not I am male or I am female, but I am compassionate, whatever you feel like your 2 most prized personal qualities are. And then reserve that last line for the exact opposite. So a single word, a personal attribute that you fear you have or that you think is negative. Let's review the top 2 positive answers. And I have a couple questions for those. So is it true all the time, everywhere, towards everyone, without exception, for those first 2 personal qualities? And then what about the bottom one? Is it totally true everywhere? Would somebody say the same thing if they were watching you 24/7? And how many of these statements are in comparison to other people, perhaps? Beginning with those first 2 statements that you wrote, try to replace that period with the comma. It said I am or not. I am or not. For example, I am smart or not. If you look at what you've wrote, the first sentence, and cross out what you've written after I am. Like, who would we be without this context of who we say we are? Who are we without all these stories and defenses? What I find when I do this with some people is that just how we started, I am that I am. I am what I am. I am that. I hope this was somewhat helpful to the kind of narratives that the ego has created for us. And when Maureen asked me to do this, I kind of thought about it. I was like, what's keeping me healthy right now? Every morning when I wake up, I say, thank you for returning my soul to my body. I find that it's pretty easy to manage that. And it's really those first few moments when we wake up are really, really precious. And I thought about this exercise because I saw the title of the seminar, and it comes from a book that is used to train therapists that is all about values. And although who we are can't be defined, I think the closest thing we can come is really taking the time to explore and define those values, because unlike goals that are just a means to an end, values are something that we walk towards throughout our life. And I have this, I'm going to share it in the chat, but it's a doc that has these value cards where, you know, if anyone has time for the rest of the Sunday, can look at these. There's quite a few of them, but you can try to only narrow them down to 7 values. Because if you know what those are, you can either look at the time spent during your day and think, how much time did I spend walking towards this value? Because if you look at how you spent your day, how you spend your time is basically from what you value. Personally, I think your wellness routine changes because sometimes, you know, what worked a couple months and then you kind of switch to something else. What's been working for me is saying thank you to that which is in nature. And I've been doing it with clients too. I ask them to find one thing in nature. My last client chose the sky, and we give gratitude and thanks to the sky. You know, thank you for your beauty. Thank you for capping the sky. Thank you for this art in motion. And we do so with kind of a mudra, a hand position, where, you know, we're either in the prayer position or our hands are open. And, you know, I'm looking out at this tree and I say, you know, thank you for your beauty. Thank you for giving us oxygen. And it's been really, really helpful in terms of keeping me well lately. And in terms of mindfulness, I've had issues with this, you know, but just taking 5, 10, 15 minutes to just look at the sky and breathe with the sky, to use something in nature. You know, it just feels good to like worship and give thanks to. What did I write here? Yeah, why does it feel so good to appreciate and respect and worship something? You know, you can say worship God, but I think when you a single point focus in nature can be something to attach that to.
Yeah, that was so wonderful. You gave us so much to think about, and you'll have more time in the conversation to answer all the questions that people might have about how to use these cards and how to use this technique. It's gorgeous. And I'll pass it to you, Regina.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you for all of this kind of what's happened so far in this very, very generous and voluptuous speakeasy experience. And I get to read the giving statement today. And I just want to invite everyone to really tune into the words that are going to be spoken in our giving statement and to listen to it as if it's a prayer. And just allow it to wash over you today. And I am delighted to read it to you and to do the same with you. Just taking a breath in, and releasing. Speakeasy is a nonprofit virtual spiritual community, and we exist on the generosity of our community members. We thank you. We thank you for playing your part and for taking the opportunity to make a love donation for today's daily bread. Your generous donations help us bring spiritual leaders, artists, the wonderful speakers and singers that we had today to our Sunday service. And we keep really important conversations going that fuel the good in our life. If you were spiritually fed by today's conversation, I invite you to go within and see what is yours to share. No gift is too small. I just want to say that again. No gift is too small. The donation link is in the chat and it's on our website. And we give thanks for all the blessings that you bring. We give thanks for all the blessings through all of our speakers and our singers and our classes and beyond. Thank you so much for listening. And I pass.
Thanks, Regina. And yeah, thanks for that invitation. It was a rich conversation, and I'm excited to hear what you might want to add to the conversation. Again, thank you, KironJ and Rachel, for adding layer and thread to this tapestry.
I really enjoyed your speaking of the poem, and I am this and I am that. Because A Course in Miracles is all about our identity. It's a deep, deep self-inquiry into what we really think we are. So you gave us a huge smorgasbord of things that we could think we are or think we're not. And where that inquiry takes me is that the Course says, illusions are illusions are illusions. We're not any of the things that we seem to be in this world. The good, the bad, the in-between, the longed for. We're not any of that. And as we get to see we're not any of that, we then leave space for the I am that we really are. So that was beautiful. Thank you.
You know what was really interesting to me is I didn't know where you ladies were going to go with it. And it just felt seamless to me how you took it into that beautiful conversation of the Course in Miracles and the presence and the purpose and how we can, focus that. And then, Rachel doing that exercise of I am, and then adding or not. I am this or not. And I was like, oh, that's so great, because these things we can sort of make even special altars, like I am peace and I am light, or not, because, your kids wouldn't describe you that way all the time. So super helpful to unrobe and to allow the full facet of what it means to be human and divine. Super helpful to give ourselves permission to not be dragged by what we're tagged, so we could tag ourselves with whore or holy, but not let it really be how we necessarily need to brand ourselves, because just like everything else, it's just a train that's passing by. In this moment, I'm very unholy. I'm just a bit of a scattered mess. In this moment, I'm very serene. In this moment, and in that way we can have Holy Communion with the moment, sans of all of these things we think we need to carry around and be. What I need to be in this conversation and what I actually am aren't actually always a match. So when do I choose to be what I actually am over what I think I need to be? It's interesting. Our friend Richard got on this morning and he made his announcement in a very unorthodox way during the sound check. And I just loved his putting his camera on and just being in complete chagrin about it. You know what I mean? Like, we have gotten to this place consciously where we are in each other's truth in a more intimate way than we've ever been before. Because when we were in church together, we sat next to each other and sometimes had conversations, but in Zoom, we're looking directly at each other. And it's a very interesting adjustment that I'm seeing you and that I'm forced to look at you as opposed to direct my focus someplace else. And in that way, we actually create more intimate and intentional relationships than we had been having when we were just sitting next to each other. we're getting to see the nuances of each other. And I just find that to be so interesting that this is where we are. And in that intimacy, there is so much more forgiveness and a room for forgiveness of, oh, into me I see. And the intimacy, into me I see. And I see myself in you, and you can see yourself in me, and we're just each other's best and worst projections. At which we can laugh. Oh, you're so holy, or oh, you're such a hot mess, and I love you. Did anybody else want to share anything?
I'd just like to say about the Zoom, I'm such a fan now. I'm not technical at all. And it was quite something to get me on Zoom. But once I had felt the mind connection with what seemed to be little boxes showing little people wherever they were in the world, seemingly, but I could feel the presence of the minds. It didn't matter where we are geographically. Oh, wow. I've been absolutely sold on it ever since. I think it's wonderful. So.
I know, I am so with you. We used to do church in a brick and mortar, beautiful chapel, and it was gorgeous, this beautiful, beautiful chapel. But I remember during COVID, because we were doing some Zoom stuff, but I remember showing up to a meeting where I saw this young man and woman were in bed together. It was a 12-step meeting. They were just in bed doing the meeting in bed with us. And I was like, okay, here we are. Like, this is gorgeous. This is like so gorgeous that I'm, that you can be relaxed and you can go to the bathroom when you need to go to the bathroom, and you can turn your camera off and sneeze, and you can do what you need to do. But that we allow ourselves to be seen. It is extravagant. It's absolutely extravagant. So doesn't sound like anybody else wants to add anything to our tapestry, which is perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. I feel like for me, I feel very well fed today, and I just deep bow and grateful to both of you, and would love to have you come back again and share even more. I know you both have more tricks in your bags, and so thank you for adding your voice and consciousness. Their links are up in the chat, so you can reach out for further information. And maybe these tapestry conversations are springboards if you want to come back and, Rachel, share more on doing a workshop on how do you look at those things that you value, and how do you work with those cards in a more intentional way. And KironJ, if you wanted to come back and continue to speak on any of those aspects that you shared with us, we're open to it. But I'll just leave this question with our community. How are we embracing all that we are? And how are we loving all that we are, all our warts and riddles, and better parts as well, as the Course says? And how are we just being with all that is, without even without cherishing it, with just noticing it? Everything just wants to be seen. Everything just wants to be heard. It doesn't want to be judged. My warts and riddles, my wrinkles, they don't want to be judged. They just are. And so where are those places where we find ourselves getting separate from what is, and using defenses and judgments around what is? And where can we ask in those moments, like, what is the true purpose here? Is the true purpose to harm myself or others? Or is the true purpose to remember my unity? And that would invoke a very holy walk to, the birth of Christ consciousness indeed. So
one of the definitions of miracles in the Course is it's a change of purpose from hurt to healing. I love that.
Yeah.
Yes, if we're not experiencing miracles, offering miracles, being in the miracle flow, we're hurting. We're trying to hurt someone else, or we're trying to hurt ourselves, which comes to the same thing.
Yes. I know. I had some information yesterday that kind of ruffled my feathers. And I have this tool that I say, like, I'll be damned if I'm not blessed by this. And I like had to fake it for a little while. Like, oh, I don't want to hurt myself with this. But I did get snagged by it and a bit dragged by it. But you know, thank God we have tools like this, that question of is this healing or harming? I shared this story this morning, and then I'll pass it to our beautiful songbird, Siobhan. I once got snagged and dragged by this, you know, life experience, and I wrote a letter to Ram Dass, and I asked him, what would you do? And he said, give up that which is harming you and find somebody else to do it. Or he said, either make peace with it or give it up to somebody else to do it. And then go and do whatever brings you, whatever heals you. And he says, by healing you, what I mean by that is by do whatever brings you closer to God. And I just thought that was so beautiful, that healing was whatever brings you closer to God. God being truth, God being love, God being expansion, God being some of those characteristics and aspects that Rachel was sharing in her deck of cards. So find that which lights you up and follow it. And I'll pass it to you, Siobhan.
Thanks, Maureen. The song I'm going to sing now is called Caledonia. Caledonia is an old romantic name for Scotland. It was given by the Romans. It was the part above Britannia that couldn't be tamed. So that's Caledonia. It was written by a Scottish man called Dougie MacLean. He was only 20 years old when he wrote this, and I've sung it for years thinking it was an elderly man's story of his life, but it was actually a young person who wrote this, feeling homesick. So it's a love song to the place where he grew up in Caledonia in Scotland. I suppose it's about missing a place or belonging to a place or feeling somewhere you belong. So I think it probably connects in with today's theme, you know, the universal, where we all belong. So here goes. I don't know if you can see the changes that have come over me in these past few days. I've been afraid I might drift away. I've been telling old stories, singing songs that make me think about where I come from, and that's the reason why I seem so far away today. Let me tell you that I love you, that I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me. Now I'm going home. But if I should become a stranger, oh, it would make me more than sad. Caledonia's been everything I've ever had. I have moved and I've kept on moving, proved the points that I needed proving, and lost the friends that I needed losing, found others on the way. I've kissed the fellas and left them sigh, stolen dreams, yes, there's no denying. I've traveled far, sometimes with conscience flying, somewhere with the wind. Let me tell you that I love you, that I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me. Now I'm going home. But if I should become a stranger, oh, it would make me more than sad. Caledonia's been everything I've ever had. I'm sitting here before the fire, the empty room, the forest choir, the flames have cooled, don't get any higher. They've withered now, they're gone. And I'm steady thinking my way is clear, and I know what I will do tomorrow when hands have shaken and kisses blown, then I will disappear. Let me tell you that I love you, that I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me. Now I'm going home. But if I should become a stranger, oh, it would make me more than sad. Caledonia, you're everything I've ever had.
Beautiful. What a beautiful way to end our service.
Just rounding out, thanking everyone for their time today. Thank you for making space for yourself, connecting to your divinity, and being in global community here today and expressing our truth together. Thank you so much. There's so many ways to get involved. It was touched on even this afternoon and all throughout the week. We look forward to seeing you back here next Sunday and for you to be a part of our home. Take care, everyone.